All right, so we're going to pick up where we left off in part one and show you how we're going to take care of this tailpiece. So I'm going to take one of the dashes here and just go ahead and duplicate it. So we can right click and choose duplicate and then move that duplicate, or we could use the keyboard shortcut of Control D. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create a path for this dash to rest on. So let me show you how we're going to do that. We're going to go into our pen tool and we're going to click right here. Let's zoom in here and click here, and then let's zoom in and click there, and then right click. And then we're going to grab a color here. Let's shift click on this kind of fuchsia color just so we can change the color of that path. Grab our node tool and just bend our path so it kind of looks like the original. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Now we're going to turn on our transformation handles up here. When I click on that node, it gives me those transformation handles. So I'll be able to take a little bit better control of what's going on here. All right. So then I am going to grab my pen tool again and do the same thing, but on this side. Right click, switch to my node edit tool here. And we're going to kind of bend this, click here. We can grab these control handles, control things a little bit better. And the same thing here. Click here, something like that. Okay. Now, where it crosses over, we need to actually break that. So we're going to double click over here and double click over here. That will add us a node. And then when we click on the path in between, we can just hit Alt Delete, and that will delete the little segment in between. Okay. So that's where we're at up to this point. So I am going to go ahead and turn off my satin 1 layer here. But before I do that, let's turn that back on. Let's take our pink path here and this, and let's move it. So move to layer satin, and then we can just go ahead and get rid of, turn off satin 1 for the time being. Actually, we need this piece too. So let's move that to satin. Then we can turn off satin 1 here. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to modify this little guy right here. Double click on it here, and we are going to go ahead and select that node and this node, and we're going to hit Shift B to break those two apart. We're going to go ahead and get rid of our transformation handles. And what we're going to do here is this node here in the middle we don't actually need. Let's go ahead and, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's create a node here. I'm going to go in outline mode so I can see this a little bit better. So we're going to delete that one. We're going to add a node directly across from that. Let's go ahead and add a node here and add a node here, and then go ahead and get rid of these two. Okay, so we've broken it there. We've broken it over here, and now we have those nodes just like so. So that's good. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to copy this to the clipboard. You can hit Control C or right click and choose copy. And then we're going to choose our path. And we're going to come over here to Path Effects. And we're going to select the drop down and we're going to choose Pattern Along Path. And you've got some options here where it says Pattern Source. We're going to use this one, which is the most commonly used one. Paste Path. So it's going to paste this path from the clipboard. Now, it just doesn't look like anything because the pattern copy says single stretched, and we want to choose repeated. Okay? And then for the spacing in between those, we're going to choose 1 millimeter. And you can see this looks very similar to what we had originally. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other path. We're going to do pattern along path. We're going to paste it. We're going to put our spacing at 1. And we are going to choose repeated. Okay. Now, you can see here that things are not lining up top here like they're supposed to, or down here like they're supposed to. But that's easy fix. So we just double click and we could just pull this in so that they do meet where they're supposed to. Okay, so there you go. That's a little bit better. And then here, same thing. We're going to adjust this path up. Okay, we're going to adjust this path. So we're going to go ahead and move that up so where it connects looks good there. And then we're going to pull this down. So that looks like that connects pretty good. And then we're just going to pull this one forward so it meets right there pretty good. All right. So now I'm pretty satisfied with that. Now, what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to select this one, and we're going to have to select this one, and we're going to go to Path, Object to Path. Now, when you put stuff on a path like we just did, these are all still grouped together. So we're going to Shift Control K, break those apart, and Shift Control K and break those apart. So now we're back to our little individual dashes. Now, when we added this to the path, it actually modified our little dash a little bit. So we still have all the same nodes, but notice that those are no longer separated. Now over here, they are. I'm not really sure why those are no longer separated. I really don't know. But I do know we're going to have to go back in on each one of those, and we're going to have to break those apart again. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to convert those to satin. Okay, so I don't remember where exactly we left off here. Okay, that's broken. That is not. All right, so we just have to do Shift B, Shift B, just go all the way around, Shift B, Shift B, Shift B, Shift B. All right, so now all of those are now broken into 2 paths, so we can go ahead and convert those to satin. Now we got to figure out this side. So that one's good, but this one is not right. So Shift B, Shift B, Shift B, Shift B, all the way up. I don't know why it closed the one end. I don't feel like it was supposed to have done that, but looks like it did, so we'll just go around and do that. And now that should all be taken care of, so we can now assign some parameters to be satin stitches. So let's go ahead and do that. Control-Alt-P. And we were not going to have running stitches, but I need those to be satin. We are, because there's so little, we are going to do 0.25, and we are going to do 5 for the inset, even though I don't know that we really need it there. Okay, it looks like we're good there except for that one, possibly this one. The rest of them look pretty good as far as the satin goes, but this one's definitely off. So we're going to have to figure out why that is. There's some extra nodes here for some reason. So we'll go ahead and delete those. That takes care of that. So now, what about this guy? Extra nodes on him too. Okay. That takes care of that. That goes back to original. 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 There is some extra nodes here on this one, but it's more or less the same. So now we'll just go through and check them all real quick. I think the rest are all good. So let's go back in and take another look. Control-Alt-P. Yes, all those look just fine. So we'll go ahead and choose Apply and Quit. Now the one thing that we are going to do that's a little bit different is we're going to set the order in which we want these to stitch out. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go to our selection tool first of all, not our node tool, and hold down our shift key. So we're going to start here. Hold down our shift key and just click these in the order we want those to stitch. So we'll come around. Okay, and then we'll go to Extensions, InkStitch, Edit, and we're going to restack the objects in the order of the selection. Okay, and so now when we look at the params, now you will see that they will stitch in the order that we had them. Just like so. Now I'm not exactly sure. You see here, those all turned out good, but these did not. And I'm not really sure why that is. So let's look at the first one. That should give us some clue as to what's happening here. Okay. So that's stitching in the opposite direction. So if we come in here with our selection tool, hold down the Alt key, and just swipe through all of these. Come right in between here. Anything that's touching that red line would get selected. So let's go ahead and assign some params. And what we're going to do is we're going to swap the rails on the whole lot. And so now you can see how they're stitching in order now. And they do have that little jump stitch in between them because that space is so small that it assumes that we are just going to want to stitch them like that. So now you can see those are all stitching. There's one big jump stitch there, but there we go. So yes, that otherwise we'd have to have a thread trim between each one of those, and I don't know that we would want that. So let's go back into our normal mode here, and let's go ahead and let's go ahead first of all and change these to black, because those should be black. Shift click on black, and now we can go ahead and look at our little fella and the realistic stitch preview here. You can see here it says render mode, realistic view. Now we can look at them just like so. So that is our little bee. Now, the last piece of the puzzle is to optimize this so everything stitches properly. And that's the part that, quite frankly, is going to take a little bit of thought in how we actually want to go about doing this. But I think it will be pretty straightforward. So definitely take a look at part 3 of this video where we totally optimize this for a perfect stitch out. Thanks for watching.